ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Welcome to this evening special session, Amrit Snan with Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Today, we are going to get an overview of the contents of the first chapter of the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Following that, we will see what are the key takeaways from those verses. So, starting with to give an overview of the first chapter. In the first chapter, it is given that once upon a time, a large number of saints and sages, they gathered at Naimisharanya with an objective to perform a sacrifice for 1000 years. But soon after they gathered, they abandoned the idea of performing 1000 years of sacrifice, and rather they decided to hear Krishna Katha because they understood that in the Kali Yuga, the people don't have the very long life. And in their assembly, they found Shaunak Rishi, and Shaunak Rishi, he became the representative of all those sages. And then they selected Sutta Goswami, who was another pure devotee of Krishna. And in the first chapter, you will see that Shaunak Rishi is asking a number of questions from Sutta Goswami. And before he asks the questions, he glorifies the Sutta Goswami. So during the conversation, Shaunak Rishi first, he glorifies Sutta Goswami, and he says, Maharaj, you have studied all the scriptures. You are a pure devotee of the Lord. So please tell us the best thing, what you have learned from the study of the scriptures. And what is in the best interest of the people, or what are those things which can bring the ultimate good for the general mass of people. And Shaunak Rishi encourages Sutta Goswami that though we have assembled here to perform the sacrifice, but we have abandoned the idea, and we are very eager to hear Krishna Katha from your mouth. He mentioned that Krishna has performed a number of pastimes. We want to hear about those pastimes. And he says hearing Krishna Katha purifies the hearer as well as the speaker. And hearing Krishna Katha increases the nectar at each and every step. And finally, Shaunak Rishi tells Sutta Goswami that apart from all these things, please tell us one thing, that after Krishna departed to his own abode, where the principles have taken the shelter, or if we find the principles of religion, if you want to know about the real dharma, then where can we get the information about it? So this is a very high level gist of the first chapter of the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It's essentially a background of how the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam started. Shaunak Rishi is posing a number of questions to Sutta Goswami, but Sutta Goswami has not started speaking. And the key message is what we get from the first chapter is the very first verse. It says that Krishna is the source of everything. He is the source of all the people who have created this world, who maintain the world and who destroy these worlds. And he's not only the source of all the great personalities, rather he is the source of all kinds of knowledge. And therefore, we should meditate upon him. The second thing, the second verse of this chapter tells us that the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the ultimate truth in this particular age, which is Kali Yuga. And the third thing we learn from this chapter, that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the ripened fruit of all the Vedic literatures, and it has been touched by Shukdev Goswami. So it has become even more tasty, and we should drink it. Prabhupada says we should always drink it. And fourth thing we learn, that one has to be submissive while he or she is making inquiry about the spiritual matters. Fifth thing we learn, that in Kali Yuga, the people don't have a very long life, everyone has a short life. So we shouldn't spend or rather waste our time in studying the Vedic literature, because we do not know when the death will come and take our breath. The sixth thing we learn, that just by chanting one time the holy name, just by chanting one time Krishna's name, we can get the liberation. But there is a condition, that it won't condition that just one time chanting of Krishna's name will give us a liberation. And it is mentioned, Yannama Vivasho Granan. In a completely helpless situation, if we chant Krishna's name, and we have the example, for example, Draupadi, we have the example of Gajendra. So they chanted Lord's name, they called out Krishna in a very helpless condition without thinking about any other shelter, and they got the protection. The seventh thing we learned, that devotees have the power to purify anyone, any place immediately, where the use of Ganges water can purify a person, purify a place after its prolonged use. And the eighth thing we learn, that hearing about Krishna is itself a very big sacrifice in the Kali Yuga. So we should not worry too much about performing any kind of sacrifice, or when we perform a sacrifice according to our family customs, then along with that sacrifice, we should have the reading of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The ninth thing we learned, that we should consider ourselves fortunate if we happen to meet with a devotee, because the devotee can take us to the Krishna's loka. And the 10th thing we learned, that the devotees relish hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam at each and every step. So these are the 10 key takeaways which we can have from the first chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So after this session, when you have the time, you can, the half an hour will be enough for you to read the verse and read the translation. And if you spend a bit more time, then you can understand better the 10 key messages which I mentioned to you. So Hare Krishna.